what would you describe? How would you describe it? John did the best he could. But can I be blunt and honest with you? I think he did a horrible job. Because when we get to heaven, we're going to see John. It's nothing like he wrote about. And John's going to tell us, you try to write in English what I saw. You try to describe what I saw. Streets of gold, we're talking about clear gold. It's like a glass of gold. He couldn't even describe it. It's indescribable. It's indescribable. Understand this, that Jesus was fully human at the same time that he was fully God. And that has always intrigued me. And when I get to heaven, I'm not going to have to ask because I'm going to know. But I want the gospel writers, why did you go silent after Jesus' birth and you only picked up at his age 12 and then you went silent again until he started his ministry? There's nothing in between. We can only surmise. And you see, that's what this song I'm fixing to sing that I've been asked to sing by Miss Mary. That's what this song talks about. You know, Jesus had multiple names. He had multiple roles. He had multiple duties. And so you see, if you ask Jesus, as this song does, Jesus, yes, what's your name, Jesus? Well, my name is Jesus on my mother's side. But on my father's side, it's going to be Emmanuel. And then, well, how old are you? Well, if you ask me about my earthly body, I'm 12 years old. But if you ask me about my heavenly body, it's eternity. So you see the dichotomy. And I guess that's why God said, you know what? You don't need to be focused so much about what happened at birth and 12 and when began his ministry. What you need to focus on is exactly what the gospel writers and the Holy Spirit put in the New Testament. It's about those 3 years he lived on this earth. And it's about those 6 days with a kangaroo court of a trial. And then when he was crucified, 3 days later, he rose victorious from the grave and is seated on the right hand of the Father. That's what the gospel writers wrote about. But in the same token, my curious mind goes, I want to know about Jesus at 8 and 14, because he didn't sass his mama, because that would have been a sin. And how would you like to have been James, the brother of Jesus? Because you know Mary looked at James, the brother of Jesus, and why can't you be more like Jesus? He's perfect. How would you like to have grown up in that family? Whew, I don't know about you. Gary, go on. Here we go. On my father's side. That's the right key. A little lower. Just a young boy in the temple one day, talking with the doctors, they were so amazed. Never had they seen one so young speak so swift. They asked him many questions. Conversation went like this. On my mother's side, my name is Jesus. But on my father's side, they call me Emmanuel. On my mother's side, now I'm 12 years, but on my father's side, I've just always been. On my mother's side, I'm from Bethlehem, but on my father's side, it's New Jerusalem. On my mother's side, I'll be crucified, but on my father's side, in 3 days I'll arise, and I'll sit at my father's side. He was the Son of God and yet the Son of Man. I can't help but wonder how Joseph must have felt when through an open door that day he heard his son reply. He said, "You see, I'm the King of Kings. That's on my father's side. On my mother's side, my name is Jesus. But on my father's side, they call me Emmanuel. On my mother's side, now I'm 12 years. But on my father's side, I've just always been. On my mother's side, I'm from Bethlehem, but on my father's side, it's New Jerusalem. On my mother's side, I'll be crucified, but on my father's side, in 3 days I'll arise, and I'll sit at my father's side." Whew, amen. Thank you so much.